Our next algebra lesson is called medium verbal problems. We said before that verbal problems are story problems. Our goal for this lesson is to apply a 4-step problem-solving strategy to solve word problems. You should know what that strategy is by now. It's called VEST. Define the variable, write the equation and solve it. Substitute your answer into the story problem, make sure it makes sense, and try it. Okay. Let's look at one of these. Joe's age is 5 less than twice his age, 10 years ago. How old is Joe? Well, how old is Joe? Joe's age is 5 less than twice his age 10 years ago. So let's let X be Joe's age. If X is Joe's age, what do you think Joe's age was 10 years ago? Well, obviously, 10 years ago is going to be Joe's age now minus 10, right? This is going to be 10 years ago. Okay? Now it says Joe's age is 5 less than twice his age 5 years ago. Okay, Joe's age, that's X, is equals 5 less than twice his age 10 years ago. Twice his age 10 years ago, so twice that. So 2 times X minus 10. Okay, and then all I have to do is solve the problem. First I have to take care of the parentheses. 2 times X is 2X. My signs are different, so it's negative. 2 times 10 is 20. Minus 5. Combine like terms. X equals 2X. My signs are the same, so it's negative. 20 plus 5 is 25. Which terms are alike? These are alike. So I have to subtract the 2X. Minus 2X minus 2X. These cancel out. Minus 2X equals minus 25. Oh, I'm sorry. X minus 2X is negative 1. So, that doesn't make sense. Okay. The opposite of X is minus 25. Divide them each by negative 1. So X equals 25. It says, how old is Joe? Well, X is 25. So 10 years ago, he was 15. So what is Joe's age? Joe's age is 25. Okay. So let's try it. If Joe is 25 years old now, 10 years ago he was 15. 2 times 15 is 30. 5 less than 30 is 25. All right. It's easier if we draw a chart when working problems that involve ages of 2 or more people. A chart helps you organize the basic information and allows the equation to be written with the least amount of thinking. Because whenever we're talking about more than one person, their age now, their age then, it can get really confusing. Let's put it in a diagram or a sketch that we can understand. If you look at example number 2, George is 3 times as old as his sister Kate. Kate is 5 years younger than their sister Sue. In 5 years, George will be twice as old as Katie. How old are they now? And you're thinking, okay, what? So let's make a chart. Okay, and your lesson has a chart. Here's the chart. There we go. This is now. This is in 5 years. Let me erase that line. George Katie, I guess it's Kate, sorry. Kate and Sue. It says George is 3 times as old as his sister Kate. So who is X? George is 3 times as old. I don't know anything about Kate. So Kate, I'm going to make Kate X. Okay? Which means George is 3X. He's 3 times as old as Kate. Okay? Kate is 5 years younger than their sister Sue. Kate is 5 years younger than their sister Sue. So that means Sue is Kate's age plus 5, right? Because Kate is 5 years younger. Alright, on that one we had to think backwards, didn't we? In 5 years, George will be twice as old as Kate. Okay? Okay, so what we're going to do for 5 years, we're just going to add 5 to each of these. In 5 years, it's this plus 5, right? In 5 years, it's X plus 5. In 5 years, it's X plus 5 plus 5. Okay? So there's my chart. Now for my equation, it says in 5 years, George will be twice as old as Kate. So let's do this. In 5 years, George will be twice as old as Kate. So this will be 2 times that. Okay? So it's saying 3x plus 5 equals, now he's going to be twice as old as Kate. Kate is going to be x plus 5. And George is going to be twice as old, so we're going to multiply that times 2. Now I need to solve the problem. First I have to take care of the parentheses. 3x plus 5 equals 2x plus 10. Okay? Look at my x's. 2 is smaller, so I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. These cancel out. This cancels out, so I need this to cancel out. So I need to subtract 5 from both sides, so this cancels out. So I have x equals 5. Okay? Now what is the question? What am I looking for? How old are they now? It wants the age of all of them. Okay. Well, I know x is 5, so Kate is 5. George is 3 times x. 3 times x. 3 times 5, which is 15. So George is 15. Sue is x plus 5. So Sue is 5 plus 5. Sue is 10. Okay? George is 15 years old now. Let's look at this. George is 15 years old now. Kate is, okay. George is 3 times as old as his sister Kate. Kate's 5, so George is 15. Kate is 5 years younger than their sister Sue. Sue's 10. Kate is 5. That's 5 years younger. In 5 years, George will be twice as old as Kate. In 5 years, George will be 20 and Kate will be 10. That will be twice as old, so that's exactly correct. Okay? Go ahead and go to number 1. Let's look at our problems. If Tammy is X years old now, how old will she be in 10 years? Well, if she's X now, how old is she going to be in 10 years? What do we do to the X? We add 10. We really didn't have to do a whole lot to that, did we? Okay, go to number 3. How old was Lisa X years ago if she is now 13? What do you think? Well, if she's 13 years old now, how old was she 2 years ago? 2 years ago, we would subtract 2. 7 years ago, we would subtract 7. It wants to know how old she was X years ago, so we subtract X. Did you get that one? Okay, excuse me, number 5. Okay. In 28 years, a man will be twice as old as he will be in 2 years. How old is he now? The best thing to do for this problem is make a chart. Okay? I'm going to make a chart. I don't know if that's big enough or not, but here we go. This is how old he is now. This is how old he's going to be in 2 years. What'd that say? In 28 years? This is how old he's going to be in 28 years. Okay? There's my chart. Your chart doesn't have to look like mine, as long as it has those 3 parts to it. You could have done it up and down, that's fine. Okay. For my chart, it says in 28 years, I'll tell you what. Without even looking at the problem, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say now he's X. In 2 years, he's going to be X plus 2. In 28 years, he's going to be X plus 28. Does that make sense? Okay, that much we know. Now it says in 28 years, a man will be twice as old as he will be in 2 years. Okay, so in 28 years, so X plus 28, X plus 28, a man will be, so that's equals, will be, twice as old as he will be in 2 years. So twice as old as that. 2 times X plus 2. Did you understand that? In 28 years, that's X plus 28, he will be, that's equals, twice as old as he will be in 2 years. This is how old he's going to be in 2 years. So it's twice as old as that. Now we solve the problem. Get rid of the parentheses. X plus 28 equals 2X plus 4. Okay. My X is smaller, so I'm going to get rid of the X. These cancel out. So I need this to cancel out. So minus 4. So that can cancel out. 28 minus 4 is 24 equals X. Okay, how old is he now? Well, right now he's 24. Okay? Do you understand what we did? So on problems like this, draw a chart. Draw a picture so you understand what to do. Okay? Now I want you to go to number 7 and do number 7. Draw a chart. Okay? So I want you to stop the tape and do number 7 and then compare it with mine. It's important that you stop the tape and that you try to work the problem yourself first. Okay? So stop the tape. Okay, let's look at number 7. Dick is now 7 times as old as Harry. In 6 years, Dick will be 5 times as old as Harry. How old will Harry be in 5 years? Okay. So I'm going to draw a chart. From what I understand, I have 2 people. I have Dick, and I have Harry. Okay. It says in 6 years and in 5 years, right? So let's see if I can make that line straighter. I have in 5 years and in 6 years. Okay? I forgot to put now. Just a minute. My mistake. I forgot about now. Okay, now 5 years and 6 years. There, that looks better, right? Okay. Before I even look at the chart, let's see. Let's look at my problem. Dick is now 7 times as old as Harry. Who do we know less about, Dick or Harry? Dick is 7 times as old as Harry. We know Dick is 7 times as old. But I don't know anything about Harry. So Harry's going to have to be X. Which makes, if Dick is 7 times as old as Harry, I can't talk, that's going to be 7X. Right? Alright. So in 5 years, we add 5 to them, right? X plus 5. And in 6 years, this is going to be 7X plus 6. And this is going to be X plus 6. Did you get that far? Okay, let's look at it. Now, I need the equation. In 6 years, Dick will be 5 times as old as Harry. Okay, Dick, where's Dick? In, what did it say, 6 years? In 6 years, Dick is 7X plus 6. So Dick, 7X plus 6, will be is equals 5 times as old as Harry. So 5 times that, right? 5 times Harry will be X plus 6, right? So Dick will be 5 times as old as Harry. Okay? Now I need to solve the problem. Get rid of the parentheses. 5X plus 30. 5X is small, so subtract 5X from both sides. Okay, so I need to subtract 6, so I have something crossed out on both sides. So I have 2X equals 24. And then divide by 2. X equals 12. Okay, so Harry is 12. What is my question asking me? How old will Harry be in 5 years? Well, that's x plus 5. X plus 5, 12 plus 5 is 17. You can't see that, can you? 17. Okay? So remember, draw a picture. How far did you get on that problem? Did you do okay? Okay, go to number 9. Okay. Wait a minute. We didn't talk about motion problems. Go to page 2. Let's look at page 2. Motion problems deal with distance traveled. The formula for finding the distance traveled when you know the rate of travel and the time of travel is d equals rt. This is the distance formula. You've seen it before. Make sure you write that formula in your notes. It should already be there, but if it's not, write it in your notes. Look at your vocabulary words. A word problem involving the distance a moving object will travel at a certain average rate for a given period of time is a motion problem. The distance an object will travel divided by the time it will travel is called the rate. Okay, let's look at the example. A car is traveling 50 miles per hour. How far will it travel in 4 hours? Well, my formula is D equals RT. Distance equals rate times time. I'm looking for the distance. It says the rate is 50 and the time is 4. So the distance is 50 times 4 is 200. So the distance is 200 miles. 200 miles. Okay? Well, they don't waste any time at being tricky, do they? All right, let's look at this. A motorist and a bicyclist leave the same place and proceed in opposite directions. If the bicycle is traveling 15 miles per hour and the auto is traveling 55 miles per hour, how many hours will they be 140 miles apart? Okay. Okay. Well, I'm going to draw a diagram. Okay? Here's my diagram. Anything that sounds really confusing, stop and draw a picture. Okay? Okay, it says there's a motorist and a bicyclist. Say motorist. Okay, I'm just going to say a car. A car and a bike. Okay, how'd I do? Okay, and I have rate, time, and distance. Alright. The bicycle is traveling at 15 miles an hour. The car is traveling at 55 miles an hour. It's asking me, in how many hours will they be 140 miles apart? So we don't know the time, right? And distance is rate times time. So why am I writing a 1? So this times this is 55t. This times this is 15t. Okay? Now it says, how many hours will they be 140 miles apart? That means If I add the car's distance plus the bike's distance, it needs to be 140, right? So let's add the distance. 55t plus 15t equals 140. Okay? These are like terms, so I can add them. They both end with the same variable, a t. 5 plus 5 is 10. 5 plus 1 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Don't forget your t. Equals 140. Okay. Divide by 70. T equals 2. Okay. So in how many hours will they be 140 miles apart? In 2 hours. Alright. If you don't know, draw a picture. When you draw a picture, it makes it easier for you to understand what's going on, and you realize it's not as difficult as it may seem like. Alright, go ahead and click Show Problems. Let's look at number 9. When you get into distance problems, you can get into some real tricky situations. So you just need to take your time, think your way through it. What is the average rate for an airplane that flies 480 miles in 2 hours, 30 minutes? Don't forget to label in your answer miles per hour, miles, hour, etc. Okay. Okay. Now remember my distance formula. Distance equals rate times time. Okay. All we have to do on this one is plug in everything, right? The distance is 480 miles. 480 miles. What is the rate? So we don't know the rate. The time is 2 hours and 30 minutes. Okay. 2 hours and 30 minutes. 30 minutes is a half hour, right? So I can say 2.5, right? However, if you want to do fractions, 2 and 30 over 60, that's fine. If you want to change it to minutes, 2 hours is 120 plus 30 is 150 minutes, and do it that way you can, which 150 minutes may be easier. But here we go. Let's look and see what we get. Well, I'm going to divide both sides by 2.5. Those cancel out. So let's use our calculator and figure out what is 480 divided by 2.5. Okay. I got 192. Now it asked what is the rate. So 192 what? Miles per hour. Okay? So my answer is 192 miles per hour. Alright? Now I want you to go to number 11. I want you to go ahead and do number 11 and then check it with mine. So stop the tape and do number 11. Okay, stop the tape.